Hi, and welcome to 8THIRSTY. But wait, someone's missing.
Hi! Welcome, Lexi.
Hey,
Welcome to
Jess.
8THIRSTY this morning, but someone else is missing.
Hi,
Welcome,
beautiful.
Lexi. Thanks
Hi,
for joining us today.
And what a great top you're wearing. It's beautiful.
Pelicans on it.
It's cheerful, isn't it?
Super cheerful.
So 2 Corinthians chapter 10 today
That's what we're up to.
talks a lot about a word starting with M.
Measuring.
So today we're going to make some dog treats for our little puppies.
Excellent.
So we're going to be measuring. What goes in there? Lexi, would you like to do
All right.
the flour? So
I
we're
would
putting
love to do the flour.
300 grams of flour.
Excellent.
We'll put it in our little measuring here.
We're going to crack an egg in. Jess, do you want to crack the
Oh,
egg?
sure. I'd love to crack an egg. There's the egg.
Fine, there
Imagine
it
that.
is.
It's in the carton. Who would have thought?
Super organised, Sam.
It's an Araucana egg.
A little bluey.
You can't see, but I'm measuring here. There we go.
Good
It
job.
is going in.
You're measuring well.
So 300 grams of flour, 1 egg, and we're going to mix in 150 mils of stock. So I've got some chicken stock left over from poaching a bit of chicken. So these are going to be some delicious treats.
And do you reckon anyone would be able to eat it as well? Like, is it a human grade dog treat?
It is a human grade dog treat because it's just egg, flour and stock.
Amazing.
Sure
So
is.
we'll be sure to give you a taste review tomorrow. So we need 150 mils of stock.
All right.
Shall I hold that for you?
Yes,
And then we're
please,
just going to
Jess.
mix that into a dough, roll it out to 1/2 centimetre thick, cut it into shapes. If you've got cute bones, that would be cute.
Do you
That
have
would be
do you have
real
little
cute.
cookie
I'm not
cutters?
sure what I have, but I'll have a look later.
So 150?
Yeah.
Are we there?
Thank you for
That's
holding the
amazing.
measuring jug for me, Jess.
It takes a whole lot of three
So we
girls to
can
make
pop
these.
that in here.
Thank you. And we add our other ingredients.
They're going to go wild for these.
Where are the doggos? Having a
They're
sleep,
outside.
probably.
They're having a sleep. They've had a big day.
We've had a massive day.
I'll stir that if someone wants to start reading the Bible. How about that?
Sounds good.
Let's do that. So we've got 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 1. Would you like to start us off, Lexi?
I would love to. So I'm going to use yours if that's okay. Oh no, I'll look.
We can
Oh,
share.
yes.
Kitchen.
I
I'm gonna
need
grab
to be
these
able
glasses.
to read. Where am I reading from?
Just over here. There we go.
Verse 10.
Verse 1.
Verse 1. Now I, Paul, myself, beseech you by the meekness and gentleness of Christ, who in presence am base among you, but being absent am bold toward you.
That I beseech you that I may not be bold when I am present with that confidence wherewith I think to be bold against some, which
Think about
which think of us if we walked according to the flesh.
But though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh.
For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God, to the pulling down of strongholds.
Casting down imaginations in every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ.
And having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled.
Do ye look on things after the outward appearance? If any man trust to himself that he is Christ's, let himself of himself think this again, that as he is Christ's, even so are we Christ's.
For though I should boast somewhat more of our authority which the Lord hath given us for edification, and not for your destruction, I should not be ashamed.
But if I may not seem as if I would terrify you by letters.
Wow.
For his letters, say they, are weighty and powerful, but his bodily presence is weak, and his speech contemptible.
Let such as one think this, that such as we are in word by letters, when we are absent, such will we also indeed when we are present.
For we dare not make ourselves of the number, or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves. But they, measuring themselves by themselves, and comparing themselves among themselves, are not wise.
But we will not boast of things without our measure, but according to the measure of the rule which God hath distributed to us, a measure to reach even unto you.
For we stretch not ourselves beyond our measure, as though we reach not unto you. For we are come as far as to you also in preaching the gospel of Christ.
Not boasting of things without our measure, that is, of other men's labours, but having hope, when your faith is increased, that we shall be enlarged by you according to our rule abundantly.
To preach the gospel in the regions beyond you, and not to boast in another man's line of things made ready to our hand.
But he that glorieth, let him glory in the Lord.
For not he that commendeth himself is approved, but whom the Lord commendeth.
Whoa!
Commendeth.
I believe there's about 6 references there to the word
Yeah.
measure.
Yeah.
God's rule of measure.
Saying measure over there as well.
It's a very full house today, full cabin.
So, this, just in a little bit of study I did yesterday on this chapter. So, people were saying about Paul, so in 10:10, that his letters were weighty and powerful, but that his speech was contemptible.
Right.
So back in this day, there were people who made a career out of speaking in public, who would go around with fancy words and
Yes.
be very entertaining and very
Okay.
wise in the knowledge of that world. So a lot of them were speaking in a way that was designed to extract money from gullible people in the crowds where they were speaking. But Paul spoke very plainly, and he spoke free of charge, whereas these other people were often getting payment to speak. They had no TV, they had no Netflix.
Wow.
Back then.
Yeah.
That was how people were entertained. So, spoiler alert coming in 2 Corinthians 11,
Do tell.
chapter 11, that's when it tells us that Paul spoke free of charge. So this little bit in 10:10 is, kind of referring to that.
Interesting.
Great.
Wow.
Thanks for that. Interesting.
And so what else have we gathered from this chapter? I mean, what we were sort of talking about before was all about cheerfully giving. And now we're talking about the mighty weapons of warfare. So we've gone from giving, and now we're talking about, this is a spiritual fight. This is not at all about flesh.
Yeah.
This is, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations in every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing it into captivity, every thought to the obedience of Christ. Those 2 verses, that's a lot.
Yeah.
To understand what's going on in our mind, and also what is going on in the world in a carnal way, and then knowing that our prayer and what we speak is actually a weapon.
Say
This
that
is a
again.
weapon.
Bringing every thought into captivity.
Yes. And bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ.
Yeah, wow.
Incredible. What was Liz saying earlier about the word stronghold? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. She
That's
was
interesting.
saying that people often use the word stronghold in a negative context, like
Right.
God's going to break down every stronghold.
Okay.
But, and don't quote me quoting her, I might be wrong, but she was saying that there's actually more positive mentions of the word stronghold than negative.
Interesting. Wow. Well, it's a stronghold. If we have a stronghold and it's the right foundation, that could be a good thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How's the dough?
Beautiful. Look,
Look, we measured.
and made.
It looks like it was
Beautiful
measured
doggy
correctly.
It looks great. Does it smell good?
It smells good, and I bet it's going to taste good too.
Do you want to have a taste?
Oh, no. We'll see.
I'll leave it to the doggos.
Wow, there is a lot in here still, but I feel like maybe someone out there would like to share something in the comments below. Why don't you give it a shot? Tell us what you are learning through this chapter. about God's measure, and about the weapons of warfare.
Great.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming, Lexi.
Thanks for sharing with us our little dog treat recipe. We'll share it in the comments, in the description, because we didn't have any weapons of warfare.
Great. Well, we'll see you tomorrow for 2 Corinthians chapter 11. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.